Hi everyone, it's Rabbi Kenneth Hahn for JUTV and Ask the Rabbi Thursdays. And today I'm talking about the question of free will in Judaism, and in particular, do we have choice over the path we follow? And at first blush, the answer to this might seem completely obvious, because there are countless times in the Torah when the Israelites are given a choice. God, or the all-knowing, unifying force in the universe, offers them choice all the time. And basically says, if you do this, things will go well for you. And if you don't do this, or if you do this other thing, things won't go well for you. And the more than implicit message in that, seems pretty explicit to me, is you have a choice. And choose well, things will go well. Choose badly, things will go badly. But by the same token, you can say, or argue, if there is this force in the universe that contains all information and is all-knowing, then and everything can be foreseen, then do we really have choice in the matter? Rabbi Akiva, one of the great Jewish sages of the ages, who lived from the year 50 through the year 137, summed it up really well, I think, when he said, everything is foreseen, yet freedom of choice is given. Interesting statement. And he goes on to say there, the world is judged by goodness, and everything depends upon unbounded kindness. Now, why am I bringing this up today? This theme is very much a part of this week's Torah portion, which is called Balam. And it happens to be perhaps my favorite Torah portion throughout the annual cycle, which is why I felt like I really wanted to engage with it. Normally I leave this stuff to my colleagues on Wednesdays. On Wisdom Wednesdays, they talk about this week's Torah portion and do a Devar Torah, speak some words of Torah. But I really wanted to engage with this. So very quickly, what goes on in this Torah portion, Balaam? Balaam is a sorcerer or a magician, and he's very well known and is known to have great powers. A king named Balak is very concerned that the Israelites are going to annihilate his people, so he sends his minions to Balaam to ask Balaam to come and curse the Israelites. Balaam receives these minions, and as any good magician, sorcerer, intuitive would, he says to them, let me sleep on it, presumably to have a dream and get a message from God as to what he should do. So that's exactly what he does, and he gets a very clear message not to do this. So he tells the minions, sorry, can't help you. They go back, and needless to say, Balak is very disappointed. So he sends back more and better minions with an authorization to make serious commitments to Balaam if he will come back and curse the Israelites. So they go back and they basically say, if you come and do this cursing, Balak, the king, will make you an inordinately wealthy man and give you anything you want. So Balaam again says, let me sleep on it. And he does, and this time he gets a different message. The message he gets is, if you really want to do this, go ahead. But if you make that choice, you're going to have to do everything I, God, tell you to do. So with that, he makes a choice and gets on his donkey and heads off to where the Israelite encampment is to curse the Israelites. Along the way, and I want to make this story shorter than it could otherwise be, he encounters many problems because his donkey is aware that an angel of God has come down and is basically doing everything to block their progress. And basically what then ensues is a very comedic, almost slapstick experience where Balaam has all kinds of frustrations with his donkey, 3 times as it happens, and each time beats his donkey. And ultimately, after the 3rd time, Balaam gets off and beats the donkey pretty badly, and at which point the donkey turns to Balaam and speaks and says, why are you doing this to me? Balaam is taken aback, needless to say, but he says, because you're mocking me. And the donkey says to him, have I ever behaved this way before? We've been together a long time. Have I ever behaved this way before? And Balaam has to think about it. And at that point, so the story goes, his eyes are opened, and he too at that point sees the angel of God and comes to recognize that he has been going down the wrong path. Now, interestingly, God, whatever God is extraordinarily angry with Balaam. This is the point I find very curious, because if indeed it's the case that Balaam has been given the choice to make a choice, why should God be mad that he made a choice? And, there's a lot here. I think one of the important messages that comes out of this Torah portion is when we intuitively know what it is we should be doing, and we make a choice that's contrary to that, we probably will start to receive messages from the universe, whether they're angels of God or other kinds of angels, or things purporting to be angels, or things that maybe are angels that want to take care of us that don't seem like angels at all. But whatever it is, we're probably going to start to get messages. And if we don't pay attention to those messages, we do that at our own peril. And indeed, the angel of God says to Balaam, who has threatened to kill the donkey in his frustration, I want you to know something. If anyone was going to die here today, it wasn't your donkey. It was going to be you. So, again, if we're following the wrong path, we're probably going to get messages to that effect. And if we don't pay attention to those messages, we do it at our own peril. Now back to free will. I want to return to Rabbi Akiva's statement, where he basically again says everything is foreseen, yet freedom of choice is given. But then it's important that he goes on to say, the world is judged by goodness, and everything depends upon unbounded kindness. So everything is foreseen, and everything depends on unbounded kindness. If you use the transitive laws in mathematics, you might say that everything is foreseeable because things depend upon unbounded kindness. And what that says to me, perhaps, is we are inclined to do the right thing, actually. This is what this Torah portion says to me. Sometimes, though, things will get in our way, like, for example, a promise of unbounded material wealth, at which point we may get very distracted from the path we might otherwise rightly be on, and start engaging in behavior that is really not for the sake of goodness and not in any way consistent with unbounded kindness. And I would argue that traveling a long distance so as to curse someone or some group is not consistent with goodness or unbounded kindness. And there probably will be strong signs and forces that lead that person properly back to her or his right path, the path that we know to be the one for us when we touch into our intuitive place. So with that, I'm going to say, have a wonderful weekend, a great Shabbat if you're observing Shabbat, and please tune in again next week on Monday for Music Mondays. And if you found this useful and interesting, by all means feel free to share it with your friends. So long.